A very good morning to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Saturday morning, Match Day Live. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you all for joining me on the Friday late on Friday night. That was really good fun with Nigel and Dan. I hope you enjoyed that show as well. This morning is all about who we're playing, and a game against Brentford when it's only the sixth game of the season. All of a sudden, to be called a must win sounds rather strange. But we haven't had the best of starts, have we? Really, West Ham United. We've had some pretty decent performances, but not necessarily decent results. And there's an awful lot of pressure on Hooden Lopetegui. There's an awful lot of pressure on Tim Steidten, if you believe all the gossip that's going around. People are suggesting that Steidten is going to walk. People are suggesting that Lopetegui won't have long before he gets found out and sacked. Well, I think we can safely say, and it was good to have had the show on Sunday, on Friday, because it was quite cathartic to step back for a second from all the sort of misery and the doom and the gloom, and say to ourselves, this is all a bit premature. All the stuff that's going on at the moment, all the gossip that's going on, is really quite premature, and it's rumor mongering, and that's all it is. We've got an important game. Of course, every game is important. If you listen to the way Lopetegui speaks about matches, he says, we move on to the next game. The last game is gone. You can't do anything about it. Of course, you can analyze it and you can learn from your mistakes. And we're hoping that that's what he'll do. And we're hoping that whatever mistakes he's made over the past few games, he's going to put right. We've still got players that are finding their feet. We've still got players that are not fully match fit. So it is going to take a little bit of time, isn't it? And we as a fan base have just got to be a little bit patient. So what about today? Well, we've got quite a formidable team that we're playing. You know, they're our bogey team in the Premier League. Brentford, however, go into this game with quite a bit of an injury crisis. And many would say, well, this is the perfect time to be playing them. And I would argue this is probably quite a dangerous time to play them, because when a team does have injuries, of course, they're going to be affected. But at the same time, they're going to be putting players on that pitch that are going to want to make a mark. You know, they're going to want to say, well, this is my opportunity to impress. So let's see what we can offer. You know, first of all, their captain, Christian Norgard, his potential return from injury to injury hit Brentford. It could be a close call, according to Thomas Frank. And he's become he's their captain, he's their linchpin. So if he doesn't make it today, that will be a bit of a blow. But he's not the only player that they've got out injured at the moment, or potentially there could be a further 7 players who are also potentially going to miss this game. John Da Silva, Johan Wissa likes to score against us, or one of the players that likes to score against us. Gustavo Nunes, Matthias Janssen, Rico Henry, their left back, Aaron Hickey, and Thiago. They're all on, at this moment in time, on the injury list. Now, Norgard did return to training this week after missing last weekend's defeat, 3-1 defeat to Tottenham. But Frank admitted that their captain, is not fully fit as yet. Now, despite their injuries, they've still got decent players in the squad. And for example, Christopher Ajar is likely to hold that defence together. Their top goal scorer this season and creator of chances in midfield, Brian Mbuemo, another player who absolutely loves scoring a goal against us, will be causing us an awful lot of problems. And then, of course, further up front, Keane Lewis Potter is also quite a decent young player. So I'm taking, like I said, I'm taking no solace from the fact that they've got all these players out injured. And Bueno, I tell you something, I like him. as a footballer. I think he's a very decent footballer. And if we ever have to go in for a sort of a wide player, you know, talk about, if Kudus is sold at the end of this season, and Bueno would be one of the players that I would love to look at. So, what about Thomas Frank? How's he going to set his team up? He's known for his innovative and adaptable coaching style. Some key aspects of his approach include his tactical flexibility. Frank often employs a 3-5-2 formation, but he's not rigid about it. He adapts his tactics based on the opponents that they're playing. And sometimes he'll shift to formations which are like a 3-2-5 or a 4-3-3 to create numerical advantages. And he's going to look at our midfield, Thomas Frank, and he's going to sort of wonder what's going to be our weak point. We talked about it in the show on Friday night that our weak point at this moment in time seems to be our central midfield. The irony of it, that we had quite a number of players in central midfield that we thought would strengthen us, players that we've let go, players that we've sold, players that we've loaned out, etc. And yet now we find ourselves potentially being weak in that particular part of the field. So he's going to look at that and he's going to adapt his team to suit. He has a high pressing and intensity. His teams are known for pressing really high up the pitch, aiming to win the ball back quickly and disrupt opponents' play. Now, we've been trying to do that, but we haven't done that with much success. Well, no, I take that back. We have done that with relative success, except that when we lose the ball, we leave ourselves extremely exposed at the back. Now, Brentford don't seem to have that problem. When they lose the ball, they seem to drop pretty quickly to fill the void. Frank, he emphasizes his playing through the middle of the park. Just mentioned that, haven't I? With a structured build up from the back. He uses a high back line to keep the team compact and shorten the distance between players, facilitating quick and short passes. So that midfield battle today is going to be crucial, and it's going to be dependent on who Lopetegui picks in that midfield in order to see who might win that battle. And he's adaptable. He's an adaptable coach. While he has a clear style, Frank is pragmatic and willing to adjust his tactics to suit different matches. This flexibility has been crucial in Brentford's success, especially in their promotion to the Premier League. And he's very good at set pieces and counter-attacks. So they'll break fast. And Mbeumo and players like Keane Potter Lewis Potter, are prime examples of the kind of players that he will utilize for that quick break. He's also been affected. Frank's team has also been affected at scoring from set pieces and counter-attacks. So whoever we have in the defense today is going to have to keep an eye on their players. We'll not let players go in the box. So Frank's approach, it's been a bit of a breath of fresh air, isn't it? Since they've been promoted back into the Premier League. It's a formidable style in English football, and they're known for their attractive and effective style of play. And I guess it's what we want at West Ham United, isn't it? I will come to your comments in a moment, so please do bear with me. Brentford have won 2 of their opening 5 league games, so they've got 2 points above us at the moment. But in their last 2 fixtures, they led early against Manchester City and Tottenham, only to come away with nothing. So what they do is, Frank has said that they work on scoring an early goal, get that early goal, settle the team down, and play from there. Obviously, getting that early goal will help. Settle, looking for a second goal to kill the game. Now, against us, Brentford's mixed run of results so far. They've included the opening game of the season where they beat Crystal Palace 2-1 at home. They had a 2-0 defeat, no harm in that, against Liverpool away. And then they secured a narrow win in the League Cup, a bit like us, 1-0 win against Colchester United. And then they beat Southampton 3-1, again in the Premier League. And then, as I mentioned, they lost 2-1 and they lost 3-1. They lost 2-1 to Man City in the league. And then they bounced back there and they beat Leyton Orient in the League Cup 3-1. But then they lost their last game 3-1 to Spurs. Now, overall, they've shown quite a resilience and ability to bounce back from a tough loss, which means that they're going to be looking to make amends, having lost their game against Spurs. So even though they've got all these injuries, I'm still sort of a little bit skeptical on this game. I'm going to go for a win, but they're a bit of a bogey team, aren't they? For us, especially in the Premier League. In the last 6 Premier League games, we beat them only once in the Premier League itself. When Jared Bowen, the last time we beat, it was actually the last time we played them. Jared Bowen got a hat trick in a 4-2 win at home. The only other time we've beaten them in the last few games has been at their ground with a 1-0 win in the FA Cup back in January 2023, when, ironically, ex-Brentford player Said Benrahma scored the winning goal. Now, as for West Ham, we have got 2 players that are missing from the game. We know Edson Alvarez is going to be missing because of the 2 yellow cards he picked up against Liverpool in midweek. And my understanding is that Nicholas Fulkrug has not returned to fitness. He's been training, but we don't think he's going to be fit for the game this afternoon. So here's the team that I think is likely to be picked. It's not necessarily my team, but this is the team I think is likely to be picked. Areola in goal, of course. Wan-Bissaka on the right, Emerson on the left. And it's a toss-up between Mavropanos and Todibo to partner Kilman in central defence. I think Todibo, and I know it sounds weird given that we got thumped 5-1, but I think Todibo had a pretty decent game against Liverpool. But he did himself no favours, did he, in the last goal when he turned his back in the 5th goal that they scored. So I don't know. Many think that Mavropanos will return, but it won't surprise me if Todibo keeps his place. When it comes to midfield, it's a much tougher call. Somerville had a very decent game against Liverpool, and I would hate for him to be dropped. Lopetegui, I think, must find a system that's going to fit in Bowen, Kudus, the 3 wide players, Bowen, Kudus, and Somerville. And it may be that Bowen may not play up front today. So I can see the huge potential in Bowen being on the right, Somerville on the left, with Mohamed Kudus maybe being given the number 10 role just behind the striker. Now, we have been lacking a ball carrier in midfield and perhaps a bit of a bruiser who can sort of stay on his feet in that central role. And Kudus could well be that player. He can drop deep. He can pick up the ball from deep. And as I've mentioned at the start of the show, we need someone that's going to be competitive in that centre of the park. And quite possibly, it could be someone like Kudus playing alongside Souček and Paqueta in the middle. Now, it looks quite weak if you think having Souček and Paqueta in the middle, we might be left a little bit open. But I think he may drop Rodriguez today. And I know it's possible that, Rodriguez has really come in to kind of like be the backup to Alvarez. But I'm just wondering, because of how combative Brentford are in the middle of the park, I'm wondering if he might be left on the bench for this game. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. It would be nice to keep a clean sheet. It would be, and I'm going for a 2-0 win. We just got to go out there and attack them today. I think that's probably the only way that we're going to sort of try and get a result. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a tough game. So you tell me what you think. So let's get rid of that and go into your chat. Usual, good morning to you. The sun shines on the righteous today. 3-0 to West Ham. That's the spirit. Toha, good morning. Feels like I've not been away. Love a win, but can't see a point. Toha again. Stel is clearly also at the age where he doesn't need sleep. I do, mate. Trust me, I really do. Usual, morning, Toha. I'm full of optimism this morning, although seeing the sunshine may have a lot to do with that. Daniela, usual 3-0 would be a nice result. Good morning to you, Colin. Good morning, mate. I hope you're well. Daniela, I don't get all the media knocking us while the likes of Everton and Dyche are getting a free ride for relegation. I think they will get a free ride because many suspect that they will get relegated. So it's all on West Ham and the money we spent. Let's not forget. There's a lot of pundits out there that did say, careful what you wish for. Good morning from air. Good morning to you, Anthony. Vinay, good. Who replaces him if he gets sacked? Way too early to say. But someone asked me that in the Monday show, and I couldn't think of a decent name. And then someone suggested the Borussia manager, or the one that's left, Edin Terzic, who was a coach under Slaven Bilic at West Ham. I'd go for him. Good morning, Leslie. I hope you're well. Good morning to you, Mark. How are you, mate? Too much gossip and blame game going on. Absolutely. And we try to, for those of you who watched the Friday night show, the Friday late night, we try to put to rest a few of those the gossip that's out there, just to sort of try and allay a few, not fears, but just to say, look, don't believe everything that you hear. It's great for social media publications, isn't it? It's great to sort of get clickbait on all the gossip. And I would sort of sit back and say, take a lot of it with a pinch of salt. Who else have we got here? Good morning to you, Brownie. How are you? As a non-West Ham fan, I'm finding it disgusting the way the media are trying to hound out Lopetegui. The likes of Jim White should be ashamed of themselves, and I, for one, am rooting for West Ham today. Good morning, mate. I hope you're well. Good morning to you, Martin. On their day, Brentford are capable of beating almost any team, but hopefully not today. Daniela, Vinay, look at who we have played. 3 top 5 sides, 3 bogey teams. Give it time. We're trying to change things as well. Hammer 84, good morning to you. Good morning to you, Bill. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. Martin, Bueno is a very good player, very consistent. I totally agree. I like him. Let's hope he has an off day today. Colin, still, I've heard that this team 1-4-2-3-1, Areola, Wan-Bissaka, Kilman, Mavropanos, Emerson, Souček, Soler. I wouldn't be surprised with Soler either. Somerville, Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen up front. If it isn't Antonio, I don't. I got a feeling that Lopetegui will go for Antonio. I think my feelings. For those of you who've been watching my show for quite some time, my feelings on Antonio. I just, love him for what he's done for West Ham. He's been a great servant, etc. But I would rather go for Bowen up front, to be honest with you. Bill, let's hope this constant blame game isn't affecting the players. That pressure on Lopetegui is not helpful. Fremer, Thomas Frank is my compatriot, but today I would like him to fail miserably. Mark, how can we be scared of a much smaller club with loads of injuries? We shouldn't. We should be. It's the Premier League is why. Not saying that we're going to roll over or anything like that, but this is where coaches make their money. When they do have a whole load of players out injured, and then they say to the players that are waiting in the wings, here's your chance. Prove to me that you should be in that starting lineup moving forward. Good morning to you, Georgie. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Bill, highlighting Sullivan's deviousness, now Steining's failings. Media are all out to get us relegated before Christmas. Colin, still, these next 2 games are vital, and they're going to be easy. I can see Ipswich they're not going to be easy. I can see Ipswich being a hard game. I agree with you. Good morning to you, Andy. I hope you're well. Good morning, Shaky. Late on parade, notification not well. I don't know what's happened. So many people are not being notified with the shows I'm putting out. I really don't understand this. I tested this myself this morning, where when I set it up, I was expecting an alert. Nothing came up. So I've got to sort that out and speak to YouTube. And I do apologize that you haven't received your alert. Mark, I would play Rodriguez, but tell him to sit in front of the back four. That's a fair shout. Anthony, Somerville reminds me of watching Sterling in his younger days. I like Somerville. I think you've got to give him time. And I think he'll come good. But good morning, Clive. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Frog in a well, good morning to you. Let's see if we're good enough to beat Brentford these days. Well, we've only beaten them once in the league so far. Isn't Fulkrug back? Well, we're getting very, very mixed messages, Andy. Even if he is back, I don't think he'll start. I think he'll be on the bench. Frog again. It has to be said, great job has been done with Brentford over the recent years. Fantastic. Mark, I got my notification this morning. Oh, there you go. It's weird. Notification worked for me as well. Thank you for letting me know. So what I would recommend people is have a look at your notifications to see if you've got them only for certain channels or you might have them switch off, etc. But I'm still going to check with YouTube as well. Daniela, check your travel plans today. Some tube lines are having planned works. Thank you for letting me know about that. Gary, back five for now, shipping too many goals. That's a decent shout, but you'd have to drop someone in midfield to do that. You lose someone in midfield. Anthony, I got notifications that you were coming on. Thank you for that as well. Right. These are meant to be short and sweet. So thank you for coming on. For those of you who found the notification, who saw the notification, I appreciate it. So just to recap, they have Brentford, a number of players out injured, but that sometimes will make them more dangerous because there are going to be players coming in that are going to want to prove themselves. We, apart from Alvarez, who is going to miss this game because of suspension. My understanding, and thank you for checking on that. Whoever said about Fulkrug, my understanding is Andy asked, "Isn't Fulkrug back?" Is there are mixed messages. He's back training, but we don't think he's back ready to actually play in this game. If he is, he'll be on the bench at the very best. I've got another comment here. Colin, this would be my team. Areola, Wan-Bissaka, Kilman, Todibo, Emerson. Yep. Somerville, Paqueta, Soler, Kudus, Guilherme. Oh, Guilherme. Yeah. We played the other day, got a bit of match fitness in. We might see him on the bench today as well. And then Bowen up front. I don't think Guilherme will start, but it's an interesting shout. I got my notification. It was a... Oh, dear. I hope you're joking there, usual. Hit the like button. Yes, please. If you're new to the channel, please do hit the like button. Please become a subscriber of the channel. Thank you very much for watching. Come on, West Ham. Let's give ourselves something to smile about today. And I'll be back again if there'll be a post-match review, of course, straight after the game. And then there'll be a Sunday reflection. So look out for that as well. Thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. Have a great day. Have a great day. And let's get a win.